we have a very special guest joining us. She fights for Bellator. She is Jessica Evil Eye. Jessica, thanks for joining us here on Beyond the Cage.
Oh, thanks for having me, you guys. I appreciate it.
In your last fight, you were able to defeat Bellator champion Zola Gurgel in the first round. Were you surprised that you were able to win so quickly?
Yeah, obviously, going into that fight, I knew that Zoila was going to be extremely talented and extremely strong. So I knew going into that fight it was going to be rather hard. So beating her the way that I did, yes, it was definitely shocking.
To start out that fight, you came out throwing, was right in her face from the start. Was that the game plan?
Yeah, we obviously went into this fight knowing that we wanted to be extremely aggressive and wanted to be very, very strong and kind of really push the pressure. So, going into the fight, that definitely was something that I really wanted to do good, to be good with.
This marks your 9th victory of your career. Would you say this is your biggest so far?
Yes, I do. Obviously, going into this, knowing that Zoila was such a, well-off name. She knew, everybody knew who she was. She's the champion. She still is their champion. So going into it, I knew that was going to be, my biggest fight to date.
Jessica, since you beat the champ, do your friends and family, or maybe even yourself, do you consider yourself the unofficial champion of Bellator?
Yeah, kind of. I mean, I don't want to sound like... I do, we kind of say, me and, my friends joke, we're like, that's okay, she can keep the belt because I'm the people's champ, I'm like, I'd much rather be the people's champ, and I just feel like that the people respect me because I respect them, and it's just, it's kind of, I feel like a champion. I mean, if you beat a champion, technically, even if you don't have a title, you still are a champion.
Right. So now you're 3-0 with Bellator, obviously, and you beat their champion. Is it safe to say that you'll be sticking around Bellator for quite a while?
Yeah, I'm signed with Bellator for a 2-year contract. So I know that I'm going to be there for a long time. I don't plan to leave anytime soon, so, and I think that they, plan to keep me, obviously in their league for a long time also.
And Jessica, like you said, you signed a 2-year deal with Bellator. Will that include a possible tournament appearance coming up here in 2013?
I really hope so. There's been a lot of talk back and forth about a tournament and whether or not they were going to have one. They just announced recently that they don't plan to do a tournament in their first half of their season, but they do know that there is going to be something. So it's I know that eventually it's going to happen. It's just a matter of time, and I just have to stay calm and, be ready for whatever.
Jessica, considering that you said that there probably won't be a tournament until the end of 2013, are you cool with that as long as you stay active with a feature fight or two? Is that good with you, or would you rather get in and do potentially 4 in a row with a tournament?
Well, to be honest, I just want to keep fighting. So, I don't even have to necessarily be on the television card. I just don't put that much emphasis on, certain things in my career. As long as I'm fighting and I'm still making a little bit of money and I'm healthy, then that's what's important to me. The tournament will come in due time, and I'm sure all of that will be perfect, at the right time. So I don't put too much craziness emphasis on being oh, well, it's got to be a tournament. I've got to be on TV. I know the right things will come at the right time. So I'm just being patient and waiting for my opportunities to shine.
Considering your performance, Jessica, and then you look at Felice Herrick's performance at Bellator 84, do you think Bellator is starting to feature more women fighters? Because it's been 2 years since their tournament, and they've kind of been non-committal about having women fight in their organization. Do you feel that you, along with some other female fighters, are starting to turn the tide, and Bellator is starting to realize how good some of the female fighters like yourself are?
Yeah, I think that they have all along been very interested in women's MMA, and I think all along that they weren't sure how to promote us, or they weren't sure what exactly to do. So I think that they caught a lot of slack from, women's MMA and even just the overall MMA scene. that they weren't promoting, and I don't think it was that at all. I think it was that they wanted to come out with like a solid plan and a solid roster of females. You know, they didn't have a really solid roster of females until after their, I mean, I would say almost this past year, maybe since like they really signed me, that they started actually putting on more female fights, more, you know, 115, 120, 125, you know, fights. And I think that that's their way of saying, look, we're behind women's MMA. We think they're great. We just want to make sure we promote them the right way so that you don't see these inconsistencies where you might see a girl on a card, then you might, you know, the whole rest of the year not see anybody. And you're seeing new faces. I mean, look at Felice Herring. Look at, you know, Patricia Vodek and, you know, Muna Holland, Michelle Old, you know, myself, Zoila. Like, there's a good set of 125ers, you know, or 115-pound females that they can ride on and have fight over the course of the next year and 2 years.
Considering Bellator's only women's tournament was at that 115 weight class, if they had another one and it happened to be at 115, would you be able to fight at that, or do you like where you're at 125?
I don't think it's physically possible for me to get 115 pounds. Like, this last time around was probably one of my best like diets that I've ever had, and I literally didn't have to cut much water weight at all. But there was a little bit of water manipulation. But still, at the same, going on the same note, I'm a bigger 125er, just like Ronda is a bigger 135er, and just like Zoila was a big 115-pounder. It's almost it's a no-brainer to stay where I'm at because I'm continuously bigger. But I mean, really, first and foremost, there's no way I could get to 115 pounds. I mean, the lightest I've ever been is 123, and I mean, and that was pushing it.
Obviously, you're in Bellator. You're 3-0. You're the people's champ of Bellator. We went over that. But Invicta has started up this year, promoting women's fights. Both of the cards that have been this year were pretty exciting. Did you get a chance to see Invicta? And what do you think about what they're doing with women's MMA?
I think Invicta is great. I think what Shannon Snap is doing over there is amazing. I think she's got something really special going on over there. Obviously, I always fear that these all-female organizations and these all-female fight cards, you know, I think that obviously the women love it because it's all-female, but at the same time, like, I think that we're still in a position where if we fight on cards with men, like, you know, such as like NAAFS shows or Bellator shows or UFC shows, like where they're co-ed, where there's male and female, all it does for us women is get us more publicity. It makes our paychecks higher. I don't even know what people are getting paid over in Invicta, but you know that draw of women's MMA is still kind of new, to where we can survive off of these guys and the publicity that they bring to the table, and you know we kind of work together. So I think it's a great concept. I want to see how it pans out. I hope nothing but the best for everybody. But I mean, I'm thinking about it as like a business person. You know, it's scary. It's very risky. I mean, it's very, very risky.
Not only has Invicta started up this year, women's MMA has definitely had a big year in popularity, mainly because of Ronda Rousey. I just wanted to get your thoughts on her as a fighter.
I think Ronda's great. You know, one of my friends is actually Sarah McMahon, and, you know, I love Sarah to death. I think she's amazing. She's a wonderful person, a great athlete, you know, and I think the same of Ronda. I think Ronda is, you know, a great athlete. I don't know her, you know, as a person, but as a fighter, I mean, she pulls it off, man. She knows what she's doing. She does a great job of promoting herself. She does a great job of, you know, going out there and doing her thing. So I think it's great what she's doing for the sport. I think it's great what she's doing in women's MMA, and, you know, it's good because of her. You know, UFC, when I first started at this stuff, you know, when I was 19 and I'm 26 now, like, Ronda didn't, like, none of these girls were doing MMA, nor was Dana White at all interested in anything having to do with women's MMA. So here we are 7 years later, girls like Ronda Rousey exist. There's tons of other great named females all over the place that it's like, it's awesome to see that. It's awesome to see everything kind of develop.
Now, is there anyone else in Bellator that you would like to fight for your next fight?
And I'm not very good with this kind of stuff, but that's, I kind of keep it quiet. That's for me and my camps to decide and kind of keep amongst ourselves. But, the best answer I can give to you with that is that I'm a 125-pound female fighter. If I haven't fought you yet, I want to fight you. If you're the best, I want to fight you. It's nothing personal. It's nothing, anything. I mean, I'll fight whoever they put in front of me because I fight for my career and I fight for myself. So whoever's next is whoever's my next main focus is.
Jessica, in that next fight, will your People's Championship be on the line?
No, not yet. I think I've already won it. I think I've already won that, and I think that that's bigger than any title. So I don't think that my people are going to go anywhere. I think that that's something that'll stick with me forever until I finally get a title, and then everybody, all my people, will get a chance to actually touch it and have something tangible to touch and take and enjoy.
Sounds good.
Now, Jessica, we're both sponsored by Intimidation MMA Clothing. I just wanted to get your thoughts on what Intimidation has done for you as a fighter.
Oh, man, Intimidation Clothing and Luke, the owner over there, is just they're an amazing company, man. They started out so small. Like, you hear the story about, like, Tap Out and stuff like that and how they were selling things out of their car, going to all these shows. That is Intimidation. And the thing about Intimidation is that, like, they genuinely care about their fighters and their people. Like, Luke and his wife are great. I mean, I want to stay with them for as long as I can. And I want to build with them for as long as we can. I want both of our successes to ride together. And all the other guys can agree with that. And, I mean, I'm very happy to be with them. And if there's something you notice about me with my sponsorship, you will always see the same people over and over. And that's something I pride myself on, is I've been able to give myself identity with sponsors, with organizations, also with fighting at a solid weight. Like, you always see Intimidation, Atkinson Candy Company, John P. Lennon, Haas Auto Mall. You always see those people, Pat Haydock, like, you see those, or Paul Haydock, you always see those same people at all the time on my fight stuff. My fight logos don't change very often. And I like that because then that gives identity.
All right, I got to ask you this because I'm from Michigan. I know you're from the Cleveland area in Ohio, so I got to ask, are you a big Cleveland sports fan?
Yes, I am. One of my actual sponsors is 1-6 Security, and also in Team Cribs. So Josh Cribbs is a very good friend of mine. He's also a sponsor of mine from the Cleveland Browns. So I'm a huge Cleveland Browns supporter. I'm a Cleveland girl. I support the whole home team.
Well, we may have a little bit of a problem, Jessica, because I'm from Detroit. I like the Tigers and all the teams here in Detroit. You're not an Ohio State fan, are you, though?
I am. I mean, yes, I am. I'm an Ohio team girl. You know what I mean? Like, don't get me wrong. My absolute favorite team in the world is, Green Bay, Wisconsin. I'm a cheesehead. I've been a Green Bay Packers fan since I was a little girl, since I knew what football was. So my first and foremost favorite team is Green Bay, but I am a hometown Cleveland supporter.
Well, then, we do have some common ground, because I, in fact, am a huge Packers fan. I wore my Clay mask yesterday while watching the Chicago Bears lose to the Packers, so we do agree on that, so that's good.
Yeah.
You know what I love most about Green Bay, and it's something that they've never changed, is the fact that they're owned by the city. They're owned by the fans. The fans, and most people don't realize that about Green Bay, that they are a fan-owned team. There's no private owners. The city of Milwaukee owns Green Bay, and I think that is just, maybe that's why I always liked them, is I just felt that they were like for the people, by the people kind of team.
Yeah, it's definitely one of the cooler aspects of the Green Bay Packers, and I ever thought if I could get enough money, I'd like to buy a share of stock in the Packers, because I hear every couple of years they do a stock sale when they want to upgrade Lambeau or add nicer facilities to the complex there in Green Bay. I was like, how cool would that be to have a plaque on the wall saying you own a share of the Green Bay Packers? But that may be a dream down the way.
I would love to do that too. We'll have to do it at the same time.
Yeah. Hey, at least you guys aren't like me in Chicago, where every team is below average, and I mean every team. Thankfully, I don't like any of the Chicago teams, so I was just as happy as the both of you with the Packer victory yesterday.
That's awesome.
Well, Jessica, thanks for coming on. We had a pleasure talking to you, and hopefully we can get you on again when you fight next.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, you guys can follow me on my Twitter, Jessica Evil Eye, and so can everybody else. But I always post on there first. It's been the most easiest way. I haven't really got a website set up, which I do plan to do. But you can follow me on my Twitter. I always put out big news on my Twitter. I try to keep people, most driven over on that end. So you'll be able to see when my next fight is. I'll post it for everybody.
Awesome. Thanks for coming on, Jessica. We really appreciate it.
Thanks, guys, and I hope you have a good Monday.
All right, you too.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Once again, that was Bellator women's MMA fighter Jessica Evil Eye on Twitter at Jessica Evil Eye.